Hari Om to you all. Let us begin with the prayer.
ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
Understanding the prayer, Pranatakleshanashaya, why we are addressing Bhagwan Shri Krishna as Pranatakleshanashaya. Kleshanashaya, Klesh may not remain with us, and our activity on a day-to-day basis, we be aware of what clash is and who we are approaching, who we are requesting. Many times we pray, but our mind is somewhere else. At this stage in the game, I would like to mention that, say you have in your house undesirable activity, you think there is a man you don't trust and you have called cop to take care of it. Cop is coming and taking care. At that time, you are definitely not going to invite another intruder or another unknown, scary person. And you have called cop with a full awareness that it is he who will take care of this undesirable situation. So when we are just chanting Govindaya Namo Namah, and at the time of chanting Govindaya Namo Namah, oh Govind, I bow down to you, I take you shelter. And at that time, how we dare to get busy with other activities, whereby we are inviting the different clash in our life. So it is so important to understand what we pray. And at the time of prayer, are these just the vocal words, or is it at our cellular level? Every cell is chanting, and our mind is totally surrendering to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And again, let us not only go to the personified form of Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Shri Krishna, but understanding omnipotent, omnipresence. Omni is present everywhere. And that one of the everywhere location is we ourselves. So at that time, how could we have other activities simultaneously going on and calling ourselves as a bhakta? This talk will guide us, hopefully, what really is dharana. Desha baddha chittasya dharana. Desha, locality, baddha, to restrict, to bind. Chittasya, chitta, mental. And that is to restrict the field of activity of the mind is dharana. And really speaking, dharana is a lifelong search and lifelong restricting, narrowing, focusing our mind to no mind state. Mind to no mind state. And how easily we talk about and say, it is very difficult to control the mind. Of course, it is difficult to control the mind. But do we really want to control the mind, or we want to witness the mind? And the other day, a friend of mine was mentioning that once the mind come to know that we are witnessing it, then mind's activity or the field of activity will be narrowed. It is like initially we may have to put in quite a bit of effort, but later it is like an elephant. If an elephant in the initial stage happen to be wild, you may require a very heavy duty steel chain to be tied to his one of the leg, and then the other end to be tied to a deeply driven iron peg. But later on, as and when he comes to know that here where I am anchored and I cannot move, nor I want to move, and my master wants me to be anchored here, then it's not going to move. So at that time, you may not need a heavy duty chain, even quarter of an inch thick. A thread around his ankle is good enough. And sometimes even not that. You put your hand around his leg in such a manner so that his mind tells him that his master has anchored him, and then he will not move. So and similar is the condition of our human mind. And on that, Bhagwan Sri Raman Maharshi has so beautifully stated. Last time I did mention that statement, but I thought I'm a very poor teacher or a friend of yours who could not share this point across very well. So this morning, today, I felt like sharing this point again with you. So let me take you back to that point, and we'll take upon a couple of sloka of
ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
and all these things started with tapa and prasada. Tapa, this is an austerity, mind you. And what is that austerity? That to learn and to have mastery over witnessing the mind. So that is the tapa. And while observing, while witnessing the tapa, whatever that comes to us is prasad. Prasad, the blessed element. Now, sometimes we may only think that whatever, either fruit or some sweet, whatever we have offered to Bhagwan, we think that is prasad. But prasad is any and everything that is coming across us, coming for us, coming with us. And that, if I may mention, let's say I'm an employee and there's a recession or otherwise, I am laid off. Now, being laid off, if you can also treat it as a prasad, who can make you unhappy? Tell me. If there is a death in the family, could you or are you willing to accept that also as a prasad? Some earthquake happening, 9/11 happening, would you still call it a prasad? So any and every activity that happens is prasad. Considering this all, this was the point that we last time shared. Desireless is wisdom. We often talk about desirelessness, and people say, how is it possible that there cannot be desire? So let's read this just once more. The two are not different. They are the same. Desirelessness is refraining from turning the mind towards any object. Understand, this is the most crucial sentence. Desirelessness is refraining, stopping from turning the mind towards any object. Wisdom means appearance of no object. And what do we mean by the no object? Again, going back to prasada, going back to the surrendering, going with these, we are going back to tapa. Wisdom means appearance of no object. And what do you mean by object? Object is anything other than subject. What does that mean? That meaning not letting your mind go away from divinity, away from Krishna, away from the ultimate reality, superbly observing the intelligence and prana being displayed everywhere. In other words, not seeking what is other than the self is detachment, other than the self. And the self is nothing but Bhagavan Shri Krishna, or desirelessness. Not leaving the self is wisdom. So please bear in mind, and for this, you do not necessarily have to go to a temple. You do not necessarily happen to have a mala. For this, you do not necessarily have to stand on your head, or you have to hold on to your breath for a couple of minutes, or you do not have to fast for 7 to 10 days. Whereby I'm not saying don't do from the health maintenance point of view is concerned, but for this one, it is so important hereafter to know that when we are chanting any prayer, Pranata Kleshanasaya, Govindaya Namo Namah, do we really mean? So kindly let us learn to be aware of every mantra, even simple as Om we are chanting. Could you see that Om being indwelled in everything around you? Is that the most fundamental vibration? Instead of just witnessing the fundamental vibration, a lot of time we think, should A be pronounced longer or U be pronounced longer? Should A start from Nabi or does it start from the throat? Do not let your rational mind take you way far into debatable situation. That logical intelligence and reality do not go together. That logical argument and Bhagavan Shri Krishna are two opposite sides of the coin. And once again, what is other than the self is the object. And it's not that I would suggest you throw away all the object, but being with or among the objects, if you could see the subject in all objects, then your sansara is the Gurukul. Your husband, wife, children, business, everything is subject to self, provided witnessing, we have learned well, and we have learned dharana very well. So going back to this, may we all remind ourselves, and it's not difficult. It's not that overnight we will be the Krishna Bhakta. It's not that we will memorize the entire Bhagavad Gita. What is truly needed is alertness, awakenness, awareness. and talking about the alertness. Are we really awake? Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam. The song that says, not song, sorry, the sloka that reminds us that those being Bhutani who say that they are awake, but truly speaking, even during daytime, they are asleep. Asleep meaning what? Nisha means what? That they are not aware of all what is happening around it, including themselves. So we will study that sloka. We did study that sloka, but do we really mean what does the Bhagavan Sri Krishna is talking to us as to what is Nisha? What is that non-alertness? What is that darkness? What is that ignorance? I will not quite call ignorance because we have learned at least what it is. We don't remember. We know what Krishna is, but we just know. And that is, I know that I know. Very important in our day-to-day life to understand as to what it is. Being aware of. And as a result, my Guru Swami Satyananda Saraswati says that the yoga is a science of awareness. Be alert, be aware, be awake, be alert that a string is tied to your leg like an elephant. That your mind is not to go and wander at the places other than yourself. Anything other than yourself is object. And once the mind is in the objective state, then no wonder the rest of the problem happens. And once the mind is resting on the subject, all that is happening with you, around you, is prasad. And the examples of the various examples of the unbelievable prasad that we just now mentioned. That is you being laid off, you having a couple of family death, you witnessing 9/11, you witnessing COVID. And these negative examples I'm giving because it is so hard for us to understand. Because we have been looking for this all over, and we are jumping from school to school. We are jumping from one Swami to another Swami, one Guru to other Guru, thinking that that Guru will bless me and I will be self-realized. So in that case, what is self and what is to be realized? Because this is distinctly telling us that what a nisha, what a darkness we are in, because we want somebody else to guide us what is our self? How could somebody else guide you who you are? So, dear friends, this is so important. The chapter on tapa and prasad looks like will never end. We'll have one after another beautiful slok, and this slok need to be contemplated, not for one mala, the rosary, but rosaries of breath. Every single breath. And let us remind ourselves. Let us be aware of the reality. This morning again, a friend of mine was asking me, saying that Sanaji, in Sankaracharya Shivoham, is there not duality? On one side, he says that I'm not mind, I'm not body, I'm not this, I'm not that. And toward the end, he says, I am Shiva. And he says, but this all is reality. And what do you mean by this all is reality? In that case, the fundamental definition of reality is absent. What our mind could perceive as something to be real, what your hand could feel it, something that we are considering real, but that's not what Sri Adi Shankaracharya is talking about. Because whatever your hand could feel it, your eyes could see it, your ear can hear it, they are there today, and tomorrow they will not be. Today are my parents with me, and tomorrow will not be. Today I have a nice job, and tomorrow I will not have. So one which is time dependent and space dependent are not real. So he says, oh yeah, now I understand, Bakulwai, that you have explained long time back at the time of Shivamam. Because at that time too, I understood, I know that I know. So the world reality. So what is really tapa, austerity, is not that we do mala or we chant all the 18 chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And whereby, please do not misunderstand that I'm saying not to chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chanting is great, understanding is great, and that is nothing but the reminding that, hey, you and Krishna are not far away. Krishna is with you. Just be aware of. And being aware of the reality, that is the austerity. That is self-realization. Because self and Krishna are not too different. As soon as you become aware of reality, as soon as you become as soon as you realize that you and Krishna are not different, that you and your house and Krishna are not different. The breath that you breathe, that and Krishna are not different. A bite of apple that you eat, the pranavayu that you breathe in, the eyes with which you see the world are not different. The power that led the eyes to see is Krishna and has Krishna, and the power that sees are not different. If that awareness exists, that is that Krishna, that self, that power. And to realize that, that's what we call self-realization. And at this point in time, I would also like to mention some of us, we may think that a self-realized person may be something like an encyclopedia or Google. They will know physics, chemistry, economics, history, geography, you name it. No, no, no. He knows all and he still doesn't know any. Because in all he sees the self. So all the objects, so to say, he sees nothing but the subject. While we see objects and nothing but objects. So understanding tapa, and that's why all the wise men, munis, are talking about meditation, meditation, and meditation. And meditation is not to keep quiet, but to realize that there is no object. And all objects are nothing but the manifestation of the reality, manifestation of the self. And to let the mind know, to let the mind be aware of that that is my tapa, my austerity. That is me being in the church or synagogue or temple 24 hours. That doesn't mean that you don't sleep. That even at night, when you are asleep and you are aware of the self, that is when that Sloka talks about that the munis, they do not sleep at night. And during the daytime, muni asleep. Asleep meaning what? During daytime, when everybody is busy with all the objects, he does not see the object. Is a result from the worldly point of view. During daytime, they are asleep, they do not engage themselves into the objects. They let the samsara take over. But to muni, to wise man, to yogi, to tapasvi, the one who does tapa, he or she is aware all the time. Ya Nisha Sarvabhuta. Let us just read that sloka once more, and then we'll go to the next sloka.
या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः.
Once again, I will briefly go over because this is so important that some of the ignorant person like me, they can translate that Ya Nisha Sarvabhutana. During Nisha at night time, Sarva, all, Bhutanam, all being, they asleep while Tacham, Jagrati Sanyami. Sanyami, like the yogis or the munis or the wise men, they are alert. And Yasham Jagrati Bhutani, when, as and when, Bhutani, the other people or being who are alert, Jagrati, Shah Nisha Pashyato, that is when Pashyato sees, observes, witnesses, Mune, plural of Muni, that is the wise people, the yogis, tapasvi, they are asleep. So please don't understand during daytime they sleep and nighttime they are awake. Okay. Two different activities. Before even I go to the next loop, let me see if, and I would appreciate some participation. All of you, if you can, turn on your video, I would appreciate, because what each one of you, I would like you to know, what do we really understand by this local daytime and nighttime to a muni or to a yogi, and daytime and nighttime to average person. Be brief, be quick, so I can go to the next one. I, once again, final request, if you can turn on your video, I would appreciate. Take up a point. Yes, Vijay Sunita.
Okay, for a normal person, daytime we are looking at the objects, and nighttime we are kind of nothing. But for munis, like day and night are the same because they are looking at the self or the subject. So kind of we have to learn or practice ourselves to see the subject rather than the object in the daytime. But I don't know how we can see the subject in the night when we are sleeping. So that's my comment and question.
Very good, very good. Sunita?
Sujata. So, Sonaji sir, I think from what I take is we need to see, um, you're saying Krishna, I'm saying God, anyone can say anything, consciousness or whatever name or label. But if you see that God, not just in your temple or prayer area, just as we pray to our idols in Hindu culture, we are not praying to that picture or the idol. We see the God in there. The same way when we leave the temple area or the prayer area, learning to be tuned in with the true self, we have to see the God in everything and everyone. It seems a little too much, but that will allow to stay in that state of mind. And it takes, of course, lifetime.
Okay. Hello. Hold on. Hello. As Vijay posed the question, this question is quite common to all of us. But you consider that state of ours during nighttime, how difficult it is. It is like holding on to a wild animal without that iron chain. So initially it will take up some time, quite an effort.
I want to sneeze.
But as the time will go by, you will know that you do not need the iron chain. A rope is good enough, and later on, not even the rope. But awareness has to be ours. At least during daytime, think of it. At least, even going further, at least during prayer time, you think of it. At least even chanting Om. See, what are you chanting? All right. And I think you got it. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody else wants to share something or want to talk?
Yeah, I have something. I mean, I not share, probably I'm not that smart enough, but I always feel like being aware is very important. I mean, probably sometimes I do that at the prayer, but once if I'm out, it's very difficult actually to constantly think about, okay, I am God within me, and then like everything I should see is with the presence of like divine beings, right? But it's very difficult, especially like you said, right? Negative situations, dealing negative situations are very difficult. For me, I see, let's say if somebody hurt me, how can I see God in them? I cannot. So how can we get to the point? Like, if somebody is good, like, is really like a Rama in Ramayanam, right? When I think of Rama, I feel good, but definitely when I think of Ravana, I want to stay away. So how can I see God in every one if that is the case, right? If I'm like seeing based on their characterism, that is one thing. And another thing is like how I can so it's easy to get attached when I see the direct bonding, whether it is a human or whether it is a nature or it is an animal, anything, right? So but God, I always have that problem. I wish I can see the God so I can build that personal bonding when I'm able to see the direct interaction, how that can happen.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sunita, you bringing such a practical difficulty, and there is nothing wrong. Unless you open up and share your view, then the other can guide, and we all learn together. Okay? You said it is difficult. First of all, nobody has said the path of spirituality is easy. And secondly, from that perspective point of view is the easiest, because you don't have to eat anything, you don't have to drink anything, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to see anything. Just studying of the mind. How often do we? And for that, everybody will witness today that we have been told, pause for 5 minutes. Sunita says that, oh my God, the coffee is so good. Sonaji, can I have one more cup? Yeah, go for it. But then don't drink it immediately. Just see, this is the second cup I asked for. Wait for 5 minutes. So during that waiting for 5 minutes, you are studying off the monkey mind.
Okay.
It is the mind that was doing it. Second, tapa, I call all to be tapa, mind you, okay? You don't have to have a fast for it. Second one was, and all of you will witness me, that the second treatment was shown to be that set an alarm in your clock or watch. And every hour on an hour basis, have 5 conscious breaths. So you tell yourself, oh, I'm inhaling. Now I'm exhaling. So during that time, what you are doing it, you are observing the activity and you do not let your mind go in different direction. Desha baddha chittasya dharana. Desha, locality, mind wandering everywhere. Our stage of mind is all over the world. To that desha, you are locking it in your house. You remember some children who, when they misbehave, say, I'm going to lock you in the bathroom. Right? This is the bathroom for us. And you don't need your parents to lock you, you lock yourself. Okay? And so this every time, and mind you, this is our thousands of lives habit. It's not going to happen overnight, but even during those 5 breaths, conscious breath that, oh, I'm breathing in, and oh, I'm breathing out. At that time, your mind is not wandering anywhere. Deshabadda, you are restricting. Okay, Alcina, don't let your mind wander other places. Just sit and observe. I'm sorry. Okay. And on the contrary, she's doing all of us a favor because she is exemplifying how the mind works. And your mind will tell you, no, I'm listening to Sonaji. Okay. But let me just organize these papers. Got it? And or Sunil may say, no, this point is so good. So he would say, let me jot it down. Let me write it down in my journal. You are noting down in your journal, but at that time, you cannot have 2 things. As you will be writing down, the word like object is not subject. At that very second, no matter what I talk, he will not listen. Okay?
So being present is what you're saying, right, yes, Guruji? Yeah, okay.
And this example, and that's why I'm very thankful to Alcina for doing this. And I mean it, I heartily mean it. Okay? Because unless you witness the example, right? And all of us, we do it. Let me tell you, multitasking. That's why my guru will never allow any of his students to take notes. No notes business. Even if you remember just 1, 2 words
Fine.
that the elephant was tied with a chain and the little string, good enough. Okay? And for that too, we all come from outside, our mind is wandering everywhere. Okay? And you're just waiting. It's no, still I have 5 minutes. Let me put a pressure cooker so that my rice dal will be ready. Okay. So you are rushing in your mind. Your mind is helter-skelter. Okay. And then they say, oh yeah, he just have started. So by the time he will be done with the prayer and when he will start actual Bhagavad Gita, I will be present. So let me finish this. What does it do? We constantly agitate our mind. As a result, we fail to what we are learning in Wednesday class, centering of the mind. People, just come, close your eyes and be present to receive so that the mind is calm and serene. Desha Baddha Chitta Shadara. Remember how often and how different ways we are learning the same point. What is Desha Baddha? Centering. There is nothing, something to be finished. Prepare yourself. And we sometimes think that we don't have time. And this may be a repeated example, dear friend, but I will not stop narrating the same example. In 1983, Swami Purananda from Bangalore was here in Tustin in one of the church. His pranayam class was starting at morning 5 o'clock. AM, by the way, everybody should know, morning mean. Okay? And so people think 5 o'clock in the morning. One gentleman, has anybody has idea where Santa Barbara is? Okay. One young couple, American couple. And the reason I say American couple, because to get into that kind of centering is a little difficult. Their developments are different. And I'm not putting American down or Indians up. But to them, early morning rise is not difficult. So they start from Santa Barbara and they are there at 4:30, sitting straight in front of Swamiji in Padmasana. They are just ready for Swamiji to begin talking at 5 o'clock. This is dedication, this is tapa, this is centering. Okay? And do we do that? Let us ask all of us. How many of us are there 10 minutes to 7 doing nothing, just sitting quietly? No. But then, Swamiji says, it is easy for you, Swamiji. But I have family, I have to do evening cooking, I have to do the laundry. So many things to be done. Yes. Path of spirituality. Once again, going back to Desha Baddha Chitta Shadara. This is for us to do. This, we are looking for the subject matter. What is subject? not looking for, really, at least learning to understand as to what is subject. What is subject being other than all objects?
So I have a question, sir, Guruji. So it is really difficult to stay calm and put like not do anything, especially for me. So I try to do like, I mean, that because of that reason, I know I want to connect it to God. That is strong in my mind, definitely, because that's my goal of life. So I actually try to do uh, whatever my mind in a positive way, put in a positive way. Like it could be praying, even if it is praying, even if my mind is not present, but I know that I sincerely went to the prayer hall, and then and my body is present. I have no control over my mind, but my body, at least I have control to go there and sit there. That I try to do. And some of my activities that I'm trying to do connect to the God. So because staying calm is difficult. So okay, stay active, but active in positive way. So let's say it could be chanting of the name, Lord name. Mind might be going, but I know that my mouth is like focusing on the Rama, Rama, Rama. Or when I do arts, mind might be somewhere, but I know I'm writing Rama, Rama, Rama. So do you think that will help?
That is the early beginning state.
Yeah.
Even when you are writing Rama, your mind is somewhere else. And that was put to us with that example of a cop taking care of an intruder. And right at that time, you are inviting another intruder. You are writing Rama. Why? Okay, Sarva Krishna Shaya, right? But at the same time, oh, second place, come in now. First place is already taken care. I love flags. Come here. So that one has to be aware of. So even if you sweetheart, 1 second, forget about an hour, 1 minute or so, 1 second when you say Ram, are you with Ram for that second? And that's what need to be checked. And our mechanical chanting is going on 24 hours. Then that is not the only thing. We fool ourselves that, I'm a very religious person.
I know.
I write Rama 108 times every day. I cannot eat anything without having darshana in the temple. I am very spiritual. And not only this, I every day donate $5 to the arty. I'm a spiritual person. Who are you kidding?
Correct.
And for that, my dad used to say, and this also some of you must have heard too, that even if you are fast asleep, somebody can wake you up. But if you're pretending to be asleep, nobody can wake you up.
Correct. That's it. Yeah.
Pretending to be. And this is how my dad's example applies to our day-to-day life.
Pretending to be religious.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent point, Sunita. And there is nothing to be open, to be naked about. Okay, this is what I do. I need some help. At that time, Sunita, you could have thought that these 10 people are observing. Nobody is talking. Why should I open up myself to let the people know that how stupid I am? No.
Yeah.
You are maybe the youngest in this group, and you are doing it so much. I appreciate you. This openness. because unless and until you go to the doctor and tell that
You cannot get treated. Correct. Correct, Swamiji.
I'm not a doctor, I'm also one of us, the student. But again, I cannot appreciate enough that sutra, third chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And he begins with the Deshabadha Chitta Shadharana, restricting the mental activity of your mind is dharana. And to which all of us, we call it meditation. Doesn't matter what you call, but dharana. Okay. God bless you, my dear. May Krishna is always guiding all of us. Anybody else? Such a beautiful discussion. I think that is what we should be spending more time rather than learning this sloka.
Sonaji, I have a quick question. With your comment is, I accept that, like, we are doing something like, 5 minutes before, wait your, before you start the Geeta, I'll finish something and come. It is true, that is what's happening to many of us, but because we are in the samsara, so we have, like, I'm saying for everybody's sake, we have some or the other obligation or responsibility, or those things are there. So kind of without proper word, I say that we have to take care of that before doing something else. So once we come, yes, we are focusing on what you are talking and trying to learn from that.
So what you're saying is self-realization is secondary priorities. That's all.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You are saying that that is what it is happening. Yes.
It is happening, but who makes it happen?
It's me.
Who satisfied the first priority?
It is me.
That's it. Recognize it. That's all I can say. So it is up to you, Vijay, to switch the priority, or at least be aware of that I am not putting that as the first priority. Got it?
Okay.
Once again, like, Sunita, I compliment you also to be naked and open and expressing your genuine problem. I'm very grateful to you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Come up with.
Sonaji, I have Guruji, I have one comment on what Vijay said, right? I think one thing that I observed lately, because I grew up with my grandmom, so I have more influence from her. Those days, even though she's like, she's taking care of everybody and doing cooking, she gets up like 4 or 4:30. And still, I have seen her, after completing all her duties, she will sit and read as if she has an exam tomorrow. So that means she knows that that is important. So, okay, you finish the work. But now I feel the difference between those lives and now, we want everything. We are desire for, oh, I want to put my kid in this activity, that activity, he should be famous here, there. We are only creating that busy life actually schedule. I mean, by God's grace, I am not like that, but I'm just saying that is what I observe. But why we are running around everything? Why I have to become famous in every field? I can do in one, in that, do good in that. And then, but still, like a lot of people, even if you do all of the things, there is no security. Those days, my grandmom's days, we didn't even have enough money, but still, if there is a guest, if there is somebody is like, asking for dakshina, or a beggar asking for food, my grandmom always served something. But I was like, I wonder, now We have a lot of money, we have comfortably living, but to give $1 out, oh my God, let me see my budget. I was like, how insecure we are. Why is this happening? Why we are like chasing this life for what?
We are not paying enough attention to finding out the root of our insecurity. It is like having the Reserve Bank of USA open to you and you're still looking for a penny. Okay? Yes. And that you will observe, keep on observing, keep on witnessing this, and look for that it was a time when you either you were born here or you came to this country, and at that time you thought that, you know, Maheen, if I win $100,000, I'm gonna retire. Okay, now, even if you have $200,000, you think, but you know, you never know, Sanaji, 200,000, when you become sick, it will go in hospital like anything. You got to have $1 million.
Correct.
And once you have the $1 million, then you will say, oh, you know, when Chris comes to my house and she will say, you have millions of dollars, but you are living in Irvine? Come on. Why don't you? So I should have a house in Beverly Hills. So this,
Never ends. Yeah.
our need is keeps on sleeping like a mirage. And I think it was Vijay who said the word samsara. The Sanskrit definition of samsara is sansarati, it is samsara. It keeps on sliding. When I will finish my high school with A+, I will get to Harvard. Once I finish to the Harvard, you got to the Harvard. No, but son, I had to finish the MBA with this. Okay, but I will be happy if I get into this firm. Okay, so now Harvard is over, next thing started. Then he says, yeah, but what is the life just living alone? I should find a good husband. So now finding a good job next to the husband. And after the husband, what is the family, just husband and wife? You should have children. Sansarati, it is sansar. That's all. Observing. Anyway, dear friends, I will take just one more last question. Time I should be watching the time. Alcina, since I picked on you, you have any question? If not, you don't have to say. Your mic.
I have a comment, Sanaji, I have a comment. And that is that everything starts and finishes with you as long as the way she was explaining, talking about why is life like this and that, because we make it that way. You don't have, once you realize that, as you say many times, this is a single journey, and go to yourself, stop looking outside and work on that. That's the only way, yourself, just you, nothing or no one else. And the more you work on that, the more you'll find out the beauty and the peace and everything that you have inside that can take care of a lot of problems that we call problem outside. Once you reach that, it's a beautiful stage to be.
And the last sentence for today, good beginning is half done. So in other words, some point in time, we have to start And so when I say, even 1 second when you chant the name Ram, Krishna, Christ, Allah, whatever, just be with it and keep progressing slowly. Okay? Hari Om.
Hari Om.
So sweet of you to spare your hours with me, and I appreciate. Looking
Thank
forward to see you maybe Wednesday, if not next Monday. This is such a good family time. Hari Om.
Hari
Thank you,
Om.
Priya.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you.